Somebody had that sound as their ringtone on their phone, and people would look at them strangely every time it rings. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of a 56K BPS modem, one of the first ways of internet connectivity in Zambia. Fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, and invited guests, my speech today is simply about the history of the internet, but a case for Zambia. The internet started a long time ago in the 1960s during the digital revolution era, just when computers were coming into being. Back then, the technology was new and computers could process and store data, but the data which was important could only be stored on one local machine. And then the Department of Defense started research and got funding for that in order to share information between computers, which makes the information more valuable and shared. And they come up with a project called ARPANET. ARPANET simply means the Advanced Research Project for Agency Network, which pretty much just made sure different computers would share information. And in that research, they also came up with a protocol. A protocol is simply an agreed upon standard of how computers communicate. And up to this date, we're still using the same IP protocol, which simply means Internet Protocol. It's evolved and has had different versions from version 4. Version 5 was a failed project, and now we're rolling into IP version 6. In Zambia, the internet came through in the 1994. There was a project at the University of Zambia under a company called Zamnet, which was the first internet service provider in Zambia. Around that time, in the Southern African region, Zambia was one of the first countries to have internet. I think with a lot of challenges, which I'll allude to later, we didn't evolve as fast as all the other countries in the region. South Africa got internet after Zambia, but they're far much more advanced now. The reason why Zambia didn't evolve very quickly was because of certain limitations. Firstly, it was the digital divide, where for you to have internet, you had to have a computer. And back then, computers were expensive in Zambia, so not very many people would afford it. So back then, only the corporate world had the internet. The other reason was because Zambia only had one internet gateway then, meaning that's a route they used to get the internet, and that was the Mwembeshi Earth Station. The Mwembeshi Earth Station is still there, hasn't been decommissioned, but I think things have changed a little bit. So apart from that, as the internet evolved, solutions kept changing and we kept getting better ways of connectivity. And from connecting via the public switch telephone network, PSTN, which is just copper lines which lie all over the country, that changed to now underground fiber optic submarine cables. And at the moment, Africa has a couple of them all over, on the Indian Ocean, on the Atlantic Ocean, and coming instream. So the only other challenge we faced was, since Zambia was landlocked, most of these submarine cables had to come on the coast and then go right into Zambia. So that was another challenge. But I think after the country was liberalized, the economy became a little bit more flexible, and the single gateway via Mwembeshi was decommissioned. So each and every other ISP was given the leeway to connect and have their own gateway as they connected to their upstream ISPs. Most of the upstream ISPs are in the US and in Europe. So after that change, policy also changed. Policy became a little bit more flexible, and government did a deliberate policy to allow electronics, mostly components of a computer, to come in duty-free. And that saw a boom in internet connectivity. We had close to 20 registered internet service providers then, and that made a whole lot of a difference. That opened up the internet pretty well. But still, we still had all other challenges, because even when fiber optic came through the Atlantic down here and came up here, we still had to find a reliable way of getting the connectivity into the country. time, and with other options coming in, we found that the other options added what's called redundancy, in that if an ISP is using a backbone from this side of the region and that's cut, that breaks the connectivity. So with other options coming in from this side, that brought about what's called reliability, and that made a whole lot of a difference. So the internet keeps developing, and now with fiber optic we have better reliability. From the statistics so far, this is how the trend has been from 2001 all the way up to 2012. So the graph has been steadily increasing, meaning more people are having better access to internet connectivity, and we have a lot of ISPs, meaning different corporate organizations and individuals use different ISPs. Now that means different routes. But that also posed the challenge in that most of the traffic, if somebody is using an ISP using this stream and another one using this stream, if they are accessing the same data, it meant traffic coming in from Europe from different directions. So the solution to that, which is still underdeveloped, what's called Internet Exchange Points, IXP, which is currently being hosted by the local telecom ISP, which is Zamnet. That means if somebody here using an ISP using this route, and somebody here using an ISP using that route, are trying to access the same page from an upstream ISP, they don't necessarily have to go all the way around. If somebody's already accessed it, it's already there, meaning second person accessing it will easily get it from there. So that makes it easier and makes connectivity a whole lot faster. So from the statistics still from the same source, ZICTA, we found that as the policy changed and as more ISPs were given leeway to transact, mobile service providers actually got on board and are providing internet services. And that even made internet connectivity even faster, meaning people who couldn't afford computers could get internet right on their mobile device, like a cell phone, an iPad, or a Galaxy Pad. And that made a whole lot of difference. Going forward, we notice that the graph keeps increasing, meaning the internet is being put to good use in the country, and this continues to grow. As we go forward, and with most of the mobile bandwidth coming in, we found that most of the content is coming in as social networking media, meaning that's Facebook, our Skype, and all those. And I think government right now is working on a deliberate policy to have a balanced use of bandwidth, where not only are they using bandwidth for social media, they're using it now for sharing of information, for development. They want to have Zambia use the most reliable bandwidth for exchanging of ideas and to further develop and make this a great nation. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Kombe. Still doesn't explain the bad internet that we often get, though. All right, excellent. Again, learned something I hadn't known before. Next, we're going to have table topics. And this is an opportunity for those that haven't had a chance to speak today, to speak. And again, table topics is an opportunity for impromptu speaking. You know, how many times have you been cornered, say, at a cocktail party or in the elevator with someone and they ask you a general question and kind of catch you off guard. This is a way to practice with responses, either by replying directly, indirectly, or just changing the subject completely. So, without further ado, I would like to bring up our table topics master today.
Thank you. Okay, I don't know whether we'll do it, I should pick people randomly, or
We have these.
they up to 12? Or I'll just
pick the numbers when you can.
Okay. I hope each one of us has that. So as a table topics master, I think I just want to emphasize that we need to use the word of the day. It's very important. It's the decorum. I know the two speeches we've had put up and forgotten about the word of the day, which is supposed to be used in our speech. So I'll start with the topic 1. I have about 5, so I think there will be good participation. HIV and malaria are the two diseases that have ravaged Africa for a very long time. I think if we're talking of HIV and AIDS, almost 30 years. Malaria, more than 60 or 70 years from the time that was